Hey, this is We've Been Drinking MMA. This is our breakdown and prediction of Volkanovski Makachev 2. This fight is between Ikram Aliskerov versus Warlley Alves at middleweight, 185 pounds. This is backhand. My pick is Ikram Aliskerov. Lousy's pick is also Ikram Aliskerov, and we're both thinking that he gets it done with either a KO or a submission. So the bet for both of us is going to be Ikram Aliskerov double chance bet, which is right next in the winning method in the winning method tab for the double chance. So you can get Ikram Aliskerov by KO or submission. Hopefully the price is okay. It's just crazy. Aliskerov is minus 600. It's $600 to profit, 100 on Aliskerov straight up. So that's way too expensive, hence the double chance bet. The price got to be right, though, right? It's got to be something like minus 250, 250 to profit 100. And we'll see what the price changes to right before the fight. So we'll see about that. But ultimately, it's a middleweight fight, and Warlley Alves, his opponent, is a 170-pounder. He's a welterweight. He's moving up to middleweight to fight Aliskerov. So this is insane because Warlley Alves is a fighter he's a good fighter. You know, he's a good kickboxer and everything, but he's 1-3 in his last four. And he's been stopped twice with submission and KO 2 fights ago versus Jeremiah Wells. And then he's going to move up against a monster like Aliskerov. That's why the odds are so crazy for Aliskerov. It's so expensive for Aliskerov to bet him to win, because Aliskerov is not only does he only have one loss, and that's to Khamzat Chimaev, who we all know is a rock star in the UFC now with so many finishes, but Aliskerov is a guy who, in his last 8 wins, 7 out of 8 wins have come by KO or submission. So he's a finisher. He's a monster. He had one fight in the Contender Series, which is the minor leagues, and he had a submission win in the first round in 2 minutes against Mario Sousa. And then his last fight, it was actually in the UFC versus Phil Hawes, who's a pretty respectable fighter, and he KO'd Phil Hawes in the first in 2 minutes and 10 seconds in the first round. So he's a KO and submission monster. You don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to do it against Warlley Alves. Warlley Alves is 1-3 in his last 4, and 2 fights ago against Jeremiah Wells, Warlley Alves got KO'd by Jeremiah Wells, who's slower than Aliskerov and less power than Aliskerov, and he still knocked out Warlley Alves inside 2 rounds and really 30 seconds into that second round. So Warlley Alves is susceptible to the KO, susceptible to the submission as well. 4 fights ago, he got submitted by Randy Brown, who's not even a submission artist. Randy Brown is a kickboxer with great kicks. So he's a KO guy, and he got submitted by a KO guy. So, man, this is not good for Warlley Alves. On top of everything, I mean, I hate to pile on Warlley Alves. This is sad but he's got a 4-inch reach disadvantage against Ikram Aliskerov in this fight. That's huge. Man, everything's going against him. He's moving up in weight against the wrong opponent. I feel bad for Warlley Alves in this fight. He's got a 4-inch reach disadvantage. He's got the weight disadvantage. He's got the age disadvantage. Oh, I mean, he's 32 and Aliskerov is 30, but still, he's also got Aliskerov is a southpaw. He's a lefty, so it's even more trouble because lefties are more rare. So Alves has to now train for a lefty, train for a guy who's longer than him, train for a guy who's bigger than him, train for a guy who can KO or sub him. It all spells doom for Warlley Alves. Kind of feel bad for him here. On top of everything, Warlley Alves only has 1 takedown average per fight, and Aliskerov has 3 takedowns per fight on average. So he just loses in every way, whether it's submission or TKO or KO. It's going to happen, and we're thinking it happens in a finish. It just matters about the price. We want it to be somewhat profitable so that it's a good risk reward. That's why I'm just waiting for after they weigh in. Hopefully it's around minus 200, minus 250, maybe even minus 300. Just because I think I just talked myself into really wanting to bet this bet, and definitely want to throw it on a parlay. It's just one of those things where Aliskerov is, like I said, only lost to 1 fight to Khamzat Chimaev, who we all know is a finisher in the UFC and who's fighting on this co-main event on this card pay-per-view. And it's going to be an exciting fight, though, still, because both these guys, Ikram Aliskerov and Warlley Alves, are kickboxers, so it's going to be very entertaining from start to finish. I see it being a fight that could end easily in the first round just because Aliskerov is so much bigger, and he's just faster punches, faster kicks, better shots, better strike selection than Warlley Alves, just better awareness in there, knows when to turn on the heat and really go for the finish, and then knows when to keep the distance. Just Aliskerov's a monster in there, and he's a thinking monster, and Warlley Alves is a guy who's been finished 1 out of, in his last 4 fights, he's been finished twice, and he's 1-3 in his last 4 at 170 pounds, and he's moving up to 185. I don't know why this is happening. I feel bad for the guy. Anyways, thank you so much for listening. And please like, subscribe, and comment for that YouTube algo. Thank you so much.